Welcome to part 11 of the 2023 NFL Draft and Review. Today we are going to be looking at the Indianapolis Colts class, and this does come with a bit of excitement for me because this means starting off with quarterback Anthony Richardson, who is presumably going to be the Colts' new starting quarterback or a temporary backup, probably to Gardner Minshew. Either way, this guy is expected to be the next face of the franchise, at least for the immediate future, till he pans out or does not. So, as usual, we will begin with the stat line, and, well, it's not the best. The accuracy could definitely be a little bit better on his passing, only 54% completion percentage on his college career. The passing stats aren't really super impressive either, only 3,100 total yards, 24 touchdowns to 15 interceptions, but this is a mobile quarterback we're talking about, so it's not just his arm that has to be evaluated here, but one thing I will point out is, obviously, I'm a bit of a Lamar Jackson hater. I don't really like players that are like this. They're entertaining, but they won't really get you where you want to go, so take it with a pinch of salt. Here we go.
6'4", 244 pounds. Sorry, 6'4" and a quarter. A broad
Big
jump
guy.
of 10.9, and here he is running a 40-yard dash. And oh my goodness!
Wow.
Well, he says he wants to run it twice.
I would advise against that. I think you're good. The 4.44 at 244
That's
pounds.
impressive.
Fours are wild.
Here's the 10.9. Oh my goodness gracious! That's a quarterback. See it.
Oh my gosh.
Here we go. Matt Landers going deep. Look at that. Oh my goodness.
He's all almost
NFL
60-yard
world
pass.
buzzing. A 40 faster than CeeDee Lamb, taller than Kittle, heavier than Hassan Reddick, bigger hands than D-Hop, a vert better than Devontae Adams, and a broad jump longer than OBJ.
See, we have not seen a performance like this in the history of the Combine. I mean, this is the best performance we've ever seen.
With the Wells Fargo Active Cash Card, you earn 2%.
Always a few poorly placed ads with some of these channels. And two of them, because why not? This fucking game.
Straight back to throw, a four-man rush, well protected. Fires one over the middle, an easy 14. They waste no time. Richardson with a touchdown. Tripped up.
How about the range I'm going? Who is the baby? He going.
Bootleg, wide open is Johnson in the right flat. He's got it. Looking for the pylon. How about a Gators touchdown? On first and goal. Keeper, Richardson into the end zone. There's the Gator touchdown. Montreal Johnson the back, the fake. And a slide right by Richardson. He unloads and hooks up. Play action here. Steps up in the pocket, looking downfield. Now he'll take off and run. The whole left side of the field. Wide open for Richardson. Touchdown. Anderson goes in motion. What a play by Richardson. A ball fake to keep it alive. And he's got a man alone in the back of the end zone.
Goes just a play fake, holds the defensive end. Now this is just dumb. Jump in the air, ball fake, get two people to bite for it, and then still make that throw.
Richardson on the keeper. Touchdown.
Crazy different city with some different hoes. Here we go. Spend the whole M on some clothes. Got up on this, I sold out the show. Gonna hot like a pot on the stove. Yellow AP on all of my hoes. I like when that wet on the toes.
Richardson, nice touch and a first down. Bring an extra man from the edge. Richardson trying to escape. And he finds a seam. A first down run for Anthony Richardson.
Okay, so I see quite a bit of Lamar here. He does need to work on the touch to his passes. There's a couple balls that could have been a little bit more in front of the receiver, a bit more on the numbers, but I kind of get the feeling that the potential for him to do that is there. It just has to be encouraged, and that's what you often see these mobile quarterbacks not really get. You don't see that in the team really push them to rely on their legs to make a play with their arm. Instead, you get a lot of teams like the Ravens, the Falcons, and teams like that in the past that have had these quarterbacks. You just basically see them given the green light to rely on their legs, and that just... it just further degrades their ability with their arm, so eventually once they hit that age where they have to rely on their arm more, they can't do it. So, this very much comes down to whether the Colts can demonstrate the knowledge and ability to get a mobile quarterback to start using his legs to use his arm. So, we'll see what goes on there, but... It really just depends on what the Colts are going to do with him. If they're going to probably not do that, then he might start from the beginning. If they're going to basically have him learn to throw the ball with better authority, then he might be back up to Gardner Minshew initially. But I would say that right now this is a good pick, but whether this turns into a great pick or just a good for entertainment pick, that remains to be seen. So... we'll see what goes on there. So, next up, the Colts selected cornerback Julius Brents, and I did take a little bit of a look at the roster this time, and it looks to me like Brents is probably going to be expected to be a day one starter. The Colts do not look like they have very much at this position, so overall, this is a bit more of what I like to see. The tackles are a tiny bit high for my taste, but interception to pass deflection, that's not bad. 4-4, 1-2. This suggests that he doesn't get his hands on the ball very often, but if he does, he may very well end up being the guy that catches that ball, and that is definitely something the Colts defense can use, as that defense has been just a joke the last couple of years. The most notable thing for me was being a Patriots fan. We played them last year, and we basically took them apart with them knowing exactly what we were going to do on offense. That is a special level of bad at your job, where you know what the other team's doing, and you're still losing the game.
Rattler with time. Underthrown and intercepted by the Wildcats. So 3rd down and 11. Young from the pocket. Incomplete pass.
Not really sure why that comes up as a highlight.
And it's incomplete.
Field against Brents. To show pressure and bring it. It's picked up. Locked it downfield to Johnston.
They've been going downfield. I think Brents gets his right hand in here to knock that away. Extends right hand to be able to get his own arm up to make the frame by frame. That would be pass interference, but in real time, Bill, that's a hard something simple here.
K-State has held South Dakota to just 16 yards in this first quarter.
Yeah, this defensive back group is awfully good, and they read that all the way. And you're taught to plant that foot.
Under a minute 20. To the outside for Willis. He is struck.
I'd say that's one of the first really big hits I've seen when I watch it.
Sanders will throw into coverage.
Spencer Sand. There's 8 guys defending. You can see the slip right away. It was freshman Johnson. This time at the top of the screen, he loses his footing. Spencer's trying to anticipate.
As the Cougars get set to join the Big 12 in a year or so.
I think what Julius Brents was over there. That's what was 23 flying up. Let me get you.
Reese the carry. Picks up 4
today. Duggan under pressure immediately launches for the end zone. Intercepted. The pressure.
Senses and feels that blitz. Nobody picks it up, so he's falling away as he throws it. When you fall, unless you're Josh Allen, it's going to affect your accuracy. He underthrown with a 6'4" receiver, can go up, climb the ladder, and make the play.
20. Chapin down the right sideline, incomplete.
Contact initially. And remember, if you can touch him down the field, it's not the NFL where there's illegal contact. As long as you're not truly impeding him and he turns around fine.
Incomplete.
That big play. Smith trying to thread the needle, and it's picked.
I think this one could have some struggles. Basically, one of the previous plays said it best. There's some things in the NFL penalty-wise that might bite this guy. He's going to have to learn to use his hands a bit less down the field, I think. But he can catch the ball, and that is a very good aspect, obviously, for a defender to have. You know, I've seen way too many corners in this class where if the ball hits their hands, they somehow manage to drop the ball. And it is intensely frustrating to see because in the modern age of the NFL, you are not going to get that chance very often. There are an increasingly low amount of quarterbacks that are going to make mistakes on a consistent basis. You know, those guys wash out of the league quick. They don't start for, 5-10 years the way they used to for some of the worst teams in the league. You know, it's win now, and to win now, you've got to do your job well. And thus, quarterbacks throw a lot of interceptions. They tend to go by the wayside pretty quickly. So these guys that drop surefire interceptions, it's like, congratulations, you've just shown that you are not able to capitalize when the other team gives you a free mistake. I don't see that with Brent, but I see other problems, and that's, I think, going to be something that comes to bite the Colts pretty early on. I think Brent is going to have a bit of a crash course learning curve. So, early on, you might see Brent get burned a little bit. We'll see how things progress. But overall, I do kind of like this pick. He's a good, secure, hard-hitting tackler. He's got better hands than any of the other corners I've seen so far. And he doesn't seem to get beaten deep very easily, so in theory, yeah, you could stick him on the other team's number 2, number 3 receiver, and he should do pretty good in at least making it hard for them. So this is a solid pick, I think, by the Colts. That'll move us along to their 3rd round selection, wide receiver Josh Downs. And Downs, I say, basically off the bat, just be serviceable, and you're probably going to be the number 4, if not number 3 guy on this team. Hell, if you can really manage to impress, you might hop Alex Pierce for number 2. So, I won't say the Colts have a good receiver group. I just don't really see it that way. I would say that Carson Wentz and Matt Ryan failed any reason beyond their own being washed up is the fact the Colts don't have many really good receivers. Michael Pittman's the best they got, and that guy's a fringe 1,000-yard receiver. Maybe he does a lot better with a better quarterback. I won't really say that it's entirely on Pittman, but when you're the number 1 guy, you should do a little better than that, even if you've got a crappy quarterback. So we'll move along to Josh Downs and see if the Colts manage to pick up another good weapon for the offense.
3 for 3. They'll take a shot toward the paint, and it's caught. Touchdown.
Good job hanging on to that ball.
Watch him come off the line, and then the head fake, and by the time Isaiah Wingfield turns his head back around.
They get the snap off. May lobs one wide open.
Trying to run his route right there. Bird, beautiful job of Downs kind of separating, right? Is that
18 to 22 players a game. They are certainly on pace for that. Drake does a nice job across his body, finding Josh Downs. Another first down for the
4-yard line. May to throw. Back corner of the end zone. Hits it in.
Great protection, just a little ball fake.
Definitely got some good athleticism on him.
Just a chance. And I love the type of pace.
Couple times. Here he is again, stepping away from pressure. Oh my goodness, that was Mahomes-esque. Just throwing it up for grabs to Downs, who takes it into the end.
Seeing it all of college football, flat out getting it done, but wow. That'll be on SportsCenter tonight. Drake May.
It's a rivalry game.
Here is May from the pocket, looping for Downs, and he holds on.
mean, that's just strong hand.
Here's May. Going to take the shot for Downs. Caught it. Touchdown, Carolina. And
play fake. Drake wants to shoot it for the end zone. Downs is there. Caught it against Hallett.
Back to it. It's just a perfectly timed play call off.
I'm fairly intrigued already because I'm noticing this quarterback just kind of puts it up and hopes Downs catches it. And there are quite a few underthrown balls in that. There are a good few contested catches in that. And Downs seems to react well to a quarterback that isn't really doing a particularly good job. So that could be interesting in the NFL, because if Minshew or Richardson can take this guy getting open and hit him in stride, that could make this guy a very, very dangerous receiver for the Colts to have. So I like this selection quite a bit. And like I said, it's just a good weapon for a weapon-depleted offense like this to have. So I'm just going to say good selection. We'll see if that works out. Hopefully the Colts will understand they might have something there. So the next player is offensive tackle Blake Freeland. And I couldn't really find much on this guy to watch other than, practice and Senior Bowl stuff. And that's not a lot of use to me, because who's given 100% effort in, practice and all that. So as I recall, I'm going to check. Yeah, 6'8", 305. The guy is pretty damn big, so I would say he's going to be pretty hard to move, but I'm not really sure if this guy is going to be a starter or not, because the Colts seem to be good at least on one tackle position, and the other one, I would say, is kind of a 50-50 if they're going to move somebody around or what. So I'm not really sure if Freeland is depth starter or what. So I can't really say whether or not I like that selection. So the next pickup from that is defensive tackle Adetomiwa Adebaware. God damn, I hope I said that right. Hold on, okay. Yep, shit. Yeah, that's just... some names. Alright, so... not really superb production from a defensive tackle. Yeah. Tackles from loss are on the lower side of what I would say is okay. The sacks are about what I expect to see. It's hard for interior defensive linemen to get to the quarterback because they're coming from the middle, and usually if the quarterback sees you coming up the middle, the ball's going to be gone by the time you get there. So that's just how that goes. But he does seem to get his hands up pretty good. 6 pass deflections through his last 3 years in college. That can be a valuable thing to have, a guy that knows when to get his hands up. So we'll move over here and take a little look.
In the Big Ten. 3rd down for DeVito and Illinois. As the pocket collapses, DeVito is sacked.
For Ohio if they wanted to.
Now the pocket collapses and Rourke is sacked. Out of top.
In the box, 4-man rush. It's a game up front. But really, Tom Adebaware.
Second half, more than 90 minutes getting back to last year. How about this play? McCaffrey in trouble, still being pressured, and McCaffrey throws it away as he...
Now, even though he's outside the pocket, this ball does not get outside the line of go past the line of scrimmage.
Over for the great Mike Hankwitz, who retired after a 50-year career. On the sidelines, ball is loose. Thompson is able to...
Defensive line is going to get after it one-on-one, redirecting, making plays up the field. That's what you have to be able to do.
To that decisive 3rd down. This is just their 2nd 3rd down of the game, and the ball is knocked loose.
Freak, and this is part of the reason why. Look how he bends the corner and then gets the ball. That's very important. You see so many guys go and get the quarterback. goes and attacks the...
3rd and 7, Smith climbing up in the pocket, wrapped up and dropped.
We're looking for cold iron over the middle, but just cannot find.
3rd down. And the Federal trying to run out of trouble, and he's rested.
That one blown up.
I'd say this is a solid backup selection for the interior of this defensive line, because the Colts, I did look, they do have like 3 or 4 guys on the interior of this defensive line, so Adebawore is probably going to be a backup, and I would say that this is a pretty good backup selection. Good bit of powered ability to clog up a run lane, maybe get to a quarterback here and there. Just your average, pretty solid, get him off the bench when someone needs a breather. Maybe in a couple of years he develops his skill set beyond that, becomes a starter when somebody leaves, or if he hits free agency and heads to a team that's less stocked up on the position that he plays. So the Colts continue to have a reasonably solid class so far, as we'll move along now to cornerback Darius Rush. And kind of the same logic I put on Brents, that this guy will have a reasonable shot to be the number 3, maybe number 2 guy pretty much from the drop, because there's not seemingly a lot of quality experience in this Colts secondary. And when you're in a conference that is as loaded up on quarterbacks as the AFC is, you definitely need a secondary that can at least kind of keep things under wraps. However, this guy goes the opposite way from Brent's in that less tackles, which could be good, but in a really just absurd pass deflection to interception ratio, that's about 5-1. Not what I want to see. Definitely not something anyone that wants to see an interception if your defense is pinned back or otherwise, risking big plays or something, wants to see either. So we'll see how this goes.
Again, this time to the left side. Patrick in the backfield. They'll take him, trying to find right side. Gamecocks stuff him initially. Now he's going to the left side. Now into some more. Carolina on a 4-man front. DJ.
And
in the shotgun, looking right
back.
quickly, in route, in and out of the house.
Yeah, that you've got to pick off. That is a free pick 6.
It just went in and out of early opportunity for a turnover.
Okay, maybe not pick 6. You might get tackled, but if you break that tackle, no one's catching
inside.
you.
King in the pocket, throwing outside into the arc, picked off, hit the 40, 50, down the near sideline to 30, 25, 15, knocked out of bounds. It started with the special teams play in Leggett. Now the defense has got a pick and a return to be 1st and goal for Carolina at the 5.
Shipley protecting Uiagalelei to the end zone.
Good contest.
No flag thrown. It was Bo Collins.
No penetration. It's well defended by Darius.
Howell's got time. He'll launch downfield for Olsen. And it's broken up. A fine defensive play by... You see the ball skills from the converted wide receiver. Great job
really good
his
deflection.
head back and making a play on the football.
Yeah,
You see the
if that
hand
is
running the route
maybe
step for step in the
6
hip pocket of the
inches
wideout.
further forward, that's a pretty big catch, but good deflection.
1-yard line. DJ Uiagalelei deep in his own end zone, lobs it up there, and it's incomplete.
He's just good at taking it away.
And that is complete. No. Incomplete. Dane. That's what you want. You want Dane Key. Oh, man, that's a little early, isn't it? Yeah, I really think it is.
Before becoming the head coach this season. Uiagalelei throws to Collins, and he's crushed by Darius.
Block on the edge earlier. It's like the extended handoff, an easy pitch and catch. But instead...
Steps up, throws, and picked off. And the Gamecocks come up.
Recognizing down and distance, and then the receiver's breaking point tells Rush when he can break. C.J. Johnson is going to try to... I
like this pick. I don't say that much for these corners that don't get a lot of interceptions and mostly can get a lot of deflections. But what I see in the deflections is that this guy is good at taking away balls that he didn't have a chance at intercepting. And that's a big difference between it hitting you in the hands and you manage to somehow put it on the turf when it was right there. That is making sure that the only guy who had a chance on that play doesn't get that chance. That is pretty much just point blank the job of a cornerback. Your job is to deny the passing game, whether that's, deflecting the ball, interceptions, but obviously I like deflections that are actually making sure that the receiver couldn't get it when you couldn't get it either. Over, obviously, like I said, dropping a ball that hit you in the hands. He did do that once, but I only did see it happen that one time. So he seems to have pretty good instincts on those little cutback routes of how to basically jump the route and pick it off. And that is a good skill to have as well. So I'm of the opinion that this could turn into one of those late round steal sort of guys that we might be hearing this name again. Now, the next name we are not going to be hearing this season, Daniel Scott, the safety, 5th round safety, and that is because in the OTAs, Scott has already suffered a season-ending injury. He's on the season-ending injured reserve list, so that sucks, but that happens every year. There's usually a couple rookies that go down, so it's just how it is. We'll hope maybe see him next year if he's good enough. So, stat line automatically, I'm not super thrilled. I've seen better safeties in terms of stats, but 80 tackles isn't bad. The interceptions versus pass deflections is pretty good. 7 versus 6. He's actually got more interceptions than pass deflections. So we'll go over here and take a look at someone that we're not going to be seeing this year, unless he has one of those super freakish comebacks that lets him play like the last game of the season.
Pressure coming on DTR. Has to get pass broken up.
Hangs, throws over the middle. It's intercepted. Daniel Scott bringing it back. His second career pick in the big game. And Scott, his 7th career interception.
Bad pass. That was right to him.
You try to throw that crossing route open, your eyes will
Good job
be
catching
your
it,
biggest
obviously,
betrayer.
but right to him.
Hopkins direct snap behind Gilliam, and he gets brought down by Daniel Scott.
And it was there early. It was there early, but Daniel Scott was able to slice through the defense on the outside.
Scott up the gut. Brumfield throws it away. It was Daniel Scott.
It's the most important 2 plays of the game. They dial up the perfect blitz. Daniel again. Numaji or Hearns. The truce against Ricky White.
Hoops. Ward. Good protection. Looking for the end zone, and it's intercepted. Daniel Scott.
I don't want right to him.
This coach
bad decision by the quarterback there.
That's why it's an interception for the Bears.
Ashton Daniels, a quarterback. And a design run. Lost the football, picked up by Cal. Jackson Sermon will scoot it along. The scoop and score for the first time today.
Look, Daniels is trying to get out on the perimeter. Ball is stripped.
Field goal that the Bruins missed. DTR tripped up in the backfield.
And if we get to 4th down.
Delora intercepted, picked off at the 6. Daniel Scott. This Cal defense, Daniel Scott reading the eyes of Delora.
Overthrown, picked off. No one right to him.
Position, and look at how many Cal defenders are right there in the area. We talked about it. Justin Wilcox really likes the way that.
And they're in this position before. This time Brumfield will throw, and Daniel Scott knocks him back.
Receivers in their speed, and Caleb Williams just quick up, throws it.
There's Rice again. This time
they're loading the box now, trying to take the run away with Daniels.
Sanders. And
I could see this one being a reasonably good, maybe special team sort of guy. Because he doesn't really seem like a run-stopping safety. doesn't have the hard hitting that I usually like to see in safeties. A good bit of that coverage was pretty much just him standing there and receiving an arm punt from the quarterback. So I would say that, yeah, special teams, Hail Mary situational guy could be pretty good for those roles, but beyond that, not sure. And like I said, we're not going to be seeing him this year because he does have a season-ending injury, so basically kind of a file that one away. Next year is pretty much his actual rookie season because he lost his rookie season. So, next player up is tight end Will Mallory, and this guy enters a stacked but not stacked position of it's more just there's like 7 guys playing this position on this team, none of them are actually that good. So, where he falls in is another guy trying to kind of make a difference for this team at a position that they're going to need now because you are dealing with young quarterbacks. Gardner Minshew is the veteran presence here, and let's be real, he's still kind of young himself. Sam Ehlinger, who's only, I think, his like 3rd season in the league, and rookie Anthony Richardson. Having a good tight end for these young guys to kind of lean back on if the receivers aren't panning out would definitely help this team. So overall, the statistics kind of don't back up Mallory probably being that guy, because this kind of does rub me as a potential run-blocking tight end stat sheet, and as you've probably heard me say many times, I don't really like these guys. But we'll give them a fair shake, and let's see. Bring the volume down because it somehow reset itself to maximum.
He's backed up inside its 20. Van Dyke has the hot hand. Receiver comes free. It's Mallory, the tight end, past the 40.
35-3. Miami trying to get on the board. Mallory with a tough catch. He's into the end zone for the touchdown. Well, guys like Shockey and Olsen and Franks and Graham. I mean, great tight ends here.
Great tight ends.
A little slip out into the right flat for Mallory, and he gets loose. Mallory inside the 20-yard line before he's
side trotter.
Quicker than I expected.
Ball fake and dump it off to him in man coverage. No one's accounted for him, and then he's got a huge run after the.
Van Dyke on 2nd down 10. He's going to throw long, trying to air it out down that left side, and it's going to be caught.
Into an unbalance. They motion Mallory across the formation to get him in a.
Keep hopes alive of a comeback. Van Dyke, Mallory first down, out to the 40 in the battle.
Brown, open man inside the 10 and into the end zone. Will Mallory was
play action pass to Rooster, and the pressure right there in Brown's face. He knows he's going to get hit.
Van Dyke with the time to operate over the middle. Virginia Tech side of the.
Look to the sidelines to change it up a little bit. Here comes the blitz.
Deep drop over the middle. It's caught. Will Mallory makes a move at the 5. Dives it away.
Yeah, like I said, this guy's a little faster than I was expecting. Usually tight ends, I don't really see have that kind of almost nimble speed. So this really comes down to whether or not Mallory can establish himself, because I could definitely see him doing a lot better than this Colts tight end group has done the past couple of years. Not a lot of these guys have been around long. They don't put up a lot of really anything in terms of numbers. It's basically Mallory's game of, can you establish a bond with a quarterback, be effective, and hell, if you can do that, you're basically the starter, because like I said, there's no one else in this room that is particularly good. So this could be another steal. This is another one that we'll see. The next one doesn't make a lot of sense to me. They got running back Evan Hall. Obviously, you've got Jonathan Taylor, Zach Moss, and yeah, those two. So Zach Moss is a perfectly acceptable backup running back, and well, Jonathan Taylor had an absolutely disastrous fall off from that amazing season he had. There was an injury in there. The offensive line wasn't doing as good. Quarterback play was arguably worse. And I think defenses were a little more prepared to deal with him the second time around. So I think it's kind of a matter if the Colts passing game could do better, I think Jonathan Taylor rebounds. So off the bat, I'm not seeing a lot of need for Evan Hull. This is a team that I think probably could have continued to find steals at other spots, and as I expected, not really impressive on the stat sheet. Not a high amount of touchdowns per season, but he does have some pretty good utility in the receiving game, so that could make him valuable to this team, as they do not have a particularly high amount of passing targets, and having a good dump-off option is good for young quarterbacks, obviously. So, let's see what we can do.
Northwestern hits keep on coming. This is Evan Hall right up the gut. He's past the 50-yard line. First big run from Evan.
Stay on the field. Evan Hall. Hall, his best run of the day.
Some kind of rhythm.
Hull finds a cutback lane and gets free. Hull's first big impact play of the game across the 50.
And the tackle, Skoronski lead out in front. Really good job of picking off the backside. And then Hull's got
Helinski. Hand off, and it's Hull. Hull breaking free for the first time.
Clean pocket for the most part for Helinski. He was worried about that screen game on the other side. Shenander was. And here is Hull into space again. Evan Hull across midfield. That was a point of effort.
That's where all the defenders are not.
Confusion defensively for Purdue, and it leads.
All right, Northwestern now with Evan Hall with a big run. Evan Hall, 30-yard line, and Northwestern strikes back.
12th play of the drive. Sullivan dumps it underneath the Hall, and Evan Hall will do
10 from the 10.
And Hull slips through. Look out! To the 20, 10, home run.
Season with 1,000 yards.
Okay, so, like I said, in the run game, I don't see him doing anything that Moss or Taylor can't do, but in terms of receiving, he could carve out a bit of almost maybe a J.D. McKissick sort of role of valuable, because he can catch the ball maybe a little better than the other guys can, so Hull could have a role on this team. It just depends on coaching there, if they're going to recognize that and use it. So, we're down to the last 3 players. 2 of the final 3 don't have videos up there. The first is Titus Leo, and this is another one. I can't really say anything. Most of the stats, most of the one video I could find was pretty much just Senior Bowl practice stuff, and as I said for Blake Friedland, that is not really what I want to watch, so it's kind of just up to interpretation, but I think they're going to be moving him to defensive end, and as far as I know, the Colts are well enough set up there that Leo is just going to be a backup, so that'll move us to the third corner they selected. This is Jalen Jones, Texas A&M, so... And as I said for the rest of them, this is not a particularly strong-looking unit, so Jones probably shouldn't be dismissed out of hand. But holy shit, that pass deflection number versus interceptions. 29-2, I do not think that I have seen a worse ratio than that in 6 years of either writing or making videos like this. So, we'll come over to the final highlight reel and just kind of wince through a lot of deflections that almost certainly you don't go 29 versus 2 interceptions if you're actually capable of catching the ball.
2nd and 15.
Intercepted, thrown right to the Aggies as
okay,
Jalen
so
Jones
one of the
goes
2
back
was
the other
right
way.
to him.
Had a couple mosh pits, but jumping up and down. You know, I treat those kids like I treat mine.
Shoulder feeling good.
Good,
okay. Down the sideline, Jenkins again has it knocked away at the last second by Jalen Jones.
He's in the right slot. Howell looks the other way. He's going to the goal line for Walston.
Watch him on the outside corner, top left. Now, claps inside, that right hand. That's a big-time play by the true freshman. Really good feel
With Ocean Hill looking to get rid of it. Ball tipped up and intercepted.
And the other interception's a tip ball.
Still on his feet.
Okay.
Leon O'Neal.
Jones gets the tip, and then it's Leon O'Neal.
Pressure off the edge. Finley. Tipped ball on the count. Is it intercepted?
Oh, that was a tip ball to another teammate, but that one's still a tip ball.
Thinking another thing, ball's behind.
One directly to him and a tip ball. That's his career interceptions.
Swing pass on the right flat. And get it cut down.
Just a great job by Jalen Jones of not taking what his receiver's selling. Inside, he plays disciplined football.
On 3rd and 5, Wilson throws a pass that was destined.
Fly sweep motion, downhill look.
He's now wearing number 8 A&M, now wearing 86.
Yet another.
The midfield strut, first down for the Tide. Milroe loads and now fumbles for the second time. Who's going to get it? Aggies do.
And could have gone all the way, had one hand on the ball, and that's what really caused it. And I thought this might be a touchdown.
Play fake. Trask looking. Now fires. Knocked away from Copeland. The true freshman Jalen.
Empty formation. 5 receivers. Hill incomplete. No flag intended for jump. On 3rd and 11. A&M drops 8. Long pass. Knocked loose.
Yes.
Jenkins had it.
Like I say, I don't like this one as much as the previous one because Darius Rush was getting deflections on balls that he didn't have a chance of catching. Jalen Jones seems to just be kind of getting deflections by not catching the ball and getting receivers to drop a ball they shouldn't have caught. The NFL, that's not going to happen as much, so I would say that Jones is probably more of a roster stuffer than anything else. And that is going to bring us to the end of the actual highlight video, as the final player is offensive tackle Jake Witt. I wasn't really able to find anything to watch here, but I did hear that this guy is extremely athletic. It's pretty much the entire reason he was drafted at all. So, while I haven't seen anything of him, because there's not really much to watch, maybe keep an eye on this one, because these are those kind of sneaky day 3 offensive linemen that in 3 or 4 years they're starters that are considered to be pretty good. And a lot of these guys end up quality backups even if they don't get that far, so, you know. But overall, I like this class, and that's hard for me to say because I don't like the Colts. I consider them to be an extremely whiny franchise. And the wasting of Andrew Luck was downright freaking criminal. So, but like I said, in regards to this draft, though, I would give this maybe, I would say almost an A, because they're getting potential value right down to round 6. It's only those last 3 guys that I don't really see a potential role for them, except for maybe Witt, depending on how things shake out for him. You know, you've got Richardson, the future, if not immediate starting quarterback. Julius Brents, who's pretty much going to start right away. Josh Downs, who's got the potential to be the number 2 guy. He might even hop Pittman if things really bounce his way, I would say. Freeland, potential roster stuffer, potential starter, depending on what they want to do with him. And then it's just routine steel-looking guys. Darius Rush, that could be a good 5th-round corner. Daniel Scott might have gotten injured, but he could have a role. Will Mallory, if he can establish himself, could be a solid tight end, which is something the Colts have needed for a couple of years now. Evan Hull, he won't be a starter. He'd be lucky in the extreme to even be Jonathan Taylor's backup. But as a pass-catching running back, he's potentially got a role with this team, allowing, Jonathan Taylor to not be on the field every frickin' play. So, like I said, A-, potential A. This is a class that has the potential to really turn things around for a Colts team that has been underperforming quite a bit in the past couple of seasons. Of course, if the top 1 or 2 blocks don't pan out, and there is a potential for Anthony Richardson to not pan out, then this class would be quite a bit worse, could even border on, 5 years later, I called an F on re-review. So, it's a kind of a high-risk, high-reward scenario to me of, yeah, you've got a lot of players that look like they could be something, but you've also taken a lot of flyers here. So, that's going to do it for today. The final video for the AFC South, obviously, is going to be the Houston Texans. That's probably going to go up on Monday, because though I would say I've had a bit higher energy this video, I'm not really feeling that great. I don't really want to record on the weekend, so it's just going to have to be Monday, and I'm just going to try and get the AFC West out from Tuesday to Friday. Hopefully all that goes well. So that's going to bring this video to an end, so leave a comment, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, follow me on Twitter, the whole good stuff, and I will see you on Monday.